Let me just say in passing on this, that this issue's been discussed. We realize just from your answers, you know, there's limitations about what you can say. But my belief is that, and I'm not condemning you for this. I'm saying that you are a good soldier. You are a troubleshooter who comes in, tries to help our country get out of messes that somebody else created. I understand that, but I think that our State Department is being overly sensitive to the feelings of murderous regimes that are now in power in Iraq and Iran. And I say murderous regimes because I was kicked out of Iraq along with my CODEL after bringing up the Camp Ashraf murders to President Maliki, who just didn't want to hear about that. I think that ignoring the slaughter of innocent people is not going to make things better when you're dealing with regimes like Iraq and Iran. I understand they're still in power there, and thus we've got other thousands of people to be concerned about. The thousands of people at Camp Ashraf, you know, if we hurt their feelings, maybe they'll go and slaughter those people too. So I understand you're trying to save lives, but I think that people who are engaged in such activity don't really respect it when you're overly sensitive to their feelings. It seems to me that what we're talking about, Ms. Lee, is that there's been a dishonorable deal made somewhere along the line in our, not this administration, not who knows, last administration, who knows when, but there's been a dishonorable deal somewhere along the line with the mullah regime in Iran that we will not support the opponents of the regime. And I think that was very indicative or very demonstrable when the Arab Spring demonstrations in Tehran were taking place. Our government was noticeably silent in support for those demonstrators in the streets of Tehran against the mullah dictatorship. And I think that that same kind of that indicates that there was some sort of understanding reached with the mullahs. And of course, now a part of that understanding could well be that we will not be supporting the MEK in any way, which the mullahs look as very symbolic to people who are resisting their dictatorship. If indeed such a deal has been struck, which people are trying to enforce now while saving the lives of these MEK people, it was a dishonorable deal to begin with. And I know how difficult it would be then at this point to try to save the lives of these people and still keep that deal if the mullahs look at the MEK as they do as opponents to the regime. And as, you know, what's the difference between a freedom fighter and a terrorist? Well, there is a difference between a freedom fighter and a terrorist. Freedom fighters want to institute freedom and democracy and fight soldiers, and terrorists kill innocent people in order to terrorize populations into submission. A little bit about, before we hang up here, we're talking about the fly in the ointment here, from what I'm understanding from your testimony, is that the people of Camp Ashraf who are still there have said they don't want to leave unless there's an inspection to verify that there aren't any weapons there. Now, why in the world would someone, you know, like that, in that situation, make that demand? Well, I think that's totally rational. And maybe you can tell me where I'm wrong, but we have a situation where, well, first of all, if once they leave, they have to realize who then would verify that there aren't any weapons. It would have to be the Iraqis or the Iranians who would be verifying that, which of course would be unacceptable. I mean, I can't believe whatever they would tell you. They may well plant weapons. The other thing is that the residents of Camp Ashraf remember full well when our government had made an agreement to protect them. And they remember full well that our troops were asked to retire and leave the area just prior to a genocidal attack of Iraqi troops in which you had innocent people slaughtered. over 35 people were murdered, 300 were wounded, and our troops withdrew right before that attack. Now, that would kind of eat at people's ability to maybe just trust us that we're going to do the right thing, and then maybe that's the reason they want to make sure that this is verified while they still have a chance to verify it. And by the way, this subcommittee has been denied permission to investigate that incident. We've been denied the ability. This is the Oversight Investigation Subcommittee who's been denied the right to investigate this slaughter of people who were under the protection of the United States government. And we've been denied that, as well as a number of other aspects of the MEK listing as a terrorist organization. So I'm sure none of these were decisions that you made years ago, but now they've thrown you into the position of having to come here and face this questioning and answer with the type of answers that you've given us today. I wish you luck. I wish you success. I hope that we get these people out of there and we get them over to Camp Liberty, and then we get them to countries around the world that will accept them. And with everything I just said, I know what a tough job you've got, and we're going to work with you, but we're still going to put this administration and our government on the spot when they make decisions like the one we're talking about that lead us to this situation.